I haven't heard my own voice in 3 weeks, but something else has. The apartment on Ashland Avenue was cheap, too cheap for a one-bedroom in Chicago, too cheap for hardwood floors and high ceilings and windows that faced east toward the lake. But I was broke, fresh out of a relationship that took the furniture and left the debt, working doubles at a restaurant where no one remembered my name even though I'd been there for 2 years. I needed cheap. I needed walls. I needed a door I could lock. The landlord was old, Ukrainian maybe, Polish. One of those voices shaped by a language that sounds like it's drowning. He handed me the keys without looking at me. "Quiet building," he said. "Very quiet. You like quiet, yes?" I nodded. He stared at me for a long time. "Good," he said. "Don't be loud. Don't make noise. This apartment, it doesn't like noise." I thought he was telling me about thin walls, about neighbors who complained, about the kind of building where everyone can hear everything. I didn't know he was warning me. The first thing I noticed was the quiet, not peaceful quiet, not the kind of silence you sink into after a long day. This was different. Hungry. I moved in on a Tuesday, carried boxes up 3 flights of stairs, each step echoing in the stairwell, but when I crossed the threshold into my apartment, nothing. The sound just stopped. Like stepping into water, like the air had weight. I unpacked in silence, set up my bed, plugged in my phone, turned on music. The first song started. Guitar, drums, a voice singing about highways and leaving and never looking back. But it sounded muffled, distant, like it was playing in another room, another building. I turned up the volume. Still quiet, maxed out the volume. Still quiet. Like the sound was being absorbed, eaten, pulled into the walls. I tested it, clapped my hands, spoke out loud. "Hello?" The word didn't echo, didn't bounce, didn't exist for more than a second before it vanished into the walls, the floor, the ceiling. Como si el espacio tuviera hambre. Like the space was hungry. I told myself it was good insulation, soundproofing, that I'd gotten lucky, that I could scream and no one would hear me. That thought should have scared me more than it did. The second week, I started losing sounds I didn't make. My phone would ring. I'd feel the vibration in my hand, see the screen light up, but no sound. I'd answer, press it to my ear. Silence. But I could feel the presence of someone on the other end, feel them speaking, feel the warmth of their voice even though I couldn't hear it. My coworker texted me, "Why didn't you answer? I called you 6 times." I had. I'd answered every call, held the phone to my ear, said hello. But my voice never reached them, and theirs never reached me. I started testing the boundaries, stood at my door, opened it, stepped into the hallway. The sounds of the building rushed at me. Footsteps above, television below, someone laughing, someone crying, someone yelling in Russian or Polish about money, about time, about doors that won't stay closed. Then I stepped back inside. The silence crashed over me like a wave, like drowning in air. I tried to leave music playing when I went to work, came home to silence. The phone still showed the song playing, progress bar moving, but no sound. I left the TV on, came home to a screen showing movement, color, mouths opening and closing, but nothing. The apartment was eating it, all of it. Every sound I brought in, every noise I made, every word I spoke, consumed. And I started to notice something else. I was forgetting what things sounded like. My mother's voice, I tried to remember it, tried to hear it in my mind, but it was muffled, distant, like trying to remember a dream. My favorite song, I knew the words, knew the melody, but when I tried to hear it in my head, nothing. Just the idea of sound, the memory of having heard it, but not the sound itself. The apartment wasn't just eating sound, it was eating the memory of sound. La memoria del ruido. Taking it from my mind, from my bones, from the part of me that knew what noise was supposed to be. Third week, I stopped trying to make sound. What was the point? Every word died before it finished leaving my mouth. Every footstep vanished before it reached my ears. I moved through the apartment like a ghost, silent, unheard, erased. But now they sound like they're coming from inside the listener's head. That's when I heard it. Not from inside the apartment, from inside the walls. At first I thought it was pipes, radiator, the building settling. But it wasn't random. It had pattern, rhythm. I pressed my ear against the wall. The sound stopped. Then, from directly behind where my ear touched the wall, a voice, not speaking to me, speaking from me. My voice, saying things I'd said weeks ago, days ago, hours ago. Hello? I need this job. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm always fine. Don't leave me. Every word I'd spoken in this apartment, trapped, living inside the walls. I pulled back. The voices continued. Not just mine. Others, dozens, hundreds. Everyone who'd ever lived here. Everyone who'd ever spoken inside these walls. All of them trapped. All of them digested. All of them digested. Becoming part of the structure. Part of the silence. Part of the hunger. What's coming from the walls now, the narrator? I ran to the door. Grabbed the handle. It didn't open. I pulled. Twisted. Yanked. Nothing. I opened my mouth to scream, but no sound came out. Not because the apartment ate it, because I'd forgotten how. I'd been silent so long, made so little noise, let the apartment consume so much that I'd lost the ability. My vocal cords moved. My lungs pushed air. My mouth formed the shape, but nothing emerged. I was becoming silence, becoming part of what the apartment wanted. Perfect, quiet, consumed. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in the center of the room, as far from the walls as possible, listening to the voices. There was a woman, young, crying. No puedo salir, no puedo salir. Ayúdame. I can't get out. I can't get out. Help me. There was a man, old, praying, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. But the prayer never finished. It looped, started over, again and again, like a recording stuck. There was a child, singing, a nursery rhyme I didn't recognize, in a language I'd never heard, over and over, for hours, days, years. They were all here. Everyone the apartment had consumed, their voices preserved, trapped, repeating, living in the walls, in the floor, in the ceiling, in the silence between sounds. It was warm, pulsing, like a membrane, like skin. The apartment was alive, not haunted, not cursed, alive. A living thing that fed on sound, on voice, on the vibrations that proved we existed. And it was digesting me, slowly, one word at a time, one memory at a time, until there was nothing left but my voice in the walls, repeating forever, trapped with all the others. I don't know how long I sat there. Time worked differently in the silence, without sound to mark its passing, without clocks that ticked, without neighbors, above or below, to signal morning or night. Just me and the voices in the walls, and the growing emptiness where my voice used to be. I tried to remember the last thing I'd said before moving in here, the last real sound I'd made outside these walls. But it was gone, eaten, not just from the air, from my memory. I'd told the landlord something when I signed the lease. What was it? Thank you? I'll take it? When can I move in? I couldn't remember. The words had been absorbed, taken, processed by the apartment's hunger. I looked at my phone. 17 missed calls, 43 texts. I opened them. Where are you? Are you okay? Please answer me. I'm worried. This isn't like you. If you don't respond, I'm calling the police. I tried to type a response. My fingers moved, but the letters that appeared made no sense. Scrambled, backwards. Languages I didn't know. Like my ability to communicate was being digested too, not just sound, but meaning, but language, but the fundamental capacity to be heard. The apartment wasn't just eating sound, it was eating me, everything that made me a person who could be known, who could be reached, who could exist in relation to others, I was being isolated, and in that moment, I understood. This is what loneliness does. Real loneliness. The kind that metastasizes, the kind that grows walls around you, that makes your voice disappear even when you're screaming. This apartment, it wasn't supernatural. It was a metaphor made real for what happens when no one hears you, when every word you speak dies before it reaches anyone, when you become so quiet, so silent, so erased that you forget you ever had a voice. All these people, they hadn't been consumed by a monster. They'd been consumed by their own isolation, their own loneliness, and the apartment, it fed on that. Grew strong from it, became more real with every person who moved in desperate, alone, invisible. I'm still here, sitting in the center of the room, as far from the walls as possible, though I know it doesn't matter. The walls are coming closer, not physically, but I can feel it. The silence expanding, growing, reaching. I could leave. The door isn't really locked. I know that now. It's just that leaving requires sound, requires making noise, requires believing you have a voice worth using, and I've forgotten. Or maybe I finally accepted what I've always known, that no one was listening anyway, that every word I've ever spoken has died the moment it left my mouth, that this apartment is just showing me what was always true. The voices here, they understand, they know what it's like. To speak and not be heard, to exist and not be seen, to be alive but only technically. My phone just vibrated again. Another call I can't hear. Another person trying to reach a version of me that doesn't exist anymore. I'm not going to answer. What would I say, even if I could make sound? Even if my voice still worked? What would I tell them? That I've been here for 3 weeks and I've forgotten what their laughter sounds like? That I can't remember my own name when I try to say it out loud? That I'm becoming a voice in the wall? Help me! Can anyone hear me? Please. I'm still here, if you're listening to this. If somehow this recording made it out, don't come looking for me. Don't call the police. Don't knock on the door of the apartment on Ashland Avenue, because if you do, if you come inside, if you try to save me, the apartment will be waiting, and it's always hungry. I can hear your voice already, even through the recording, even through the screen, calling out to me, trying to reach me, but your voice is dying too, getting quieter, being absorbed, because that's what silence does. It spreads.